So can everybody please stand and join me in saying the pledge? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong, Senator Carpenter, Senator Deneen, Senator Givens, Senator Thayer, Senator Webb, Senator West, Senator Westerfield, Senator Wilson, Senator Boswell, and Chairman Howe.
Here. Thank you. We are going to go a little bit out of order. Before we do, does anyone have any guests that they need to introduce? Seeing none, Representative Bray, you're already here. House Bill 563, we're going to take it a little bit out of order. And introduce yourself for the record, and you begin.
Representative Josh Bray, House District 71. So House Bill 563 is a water and wastewater bill that's targeted toward struggling water districts. We have criteria in here for districts who ordinarily don't qualify for normal funding. The way we look at it, you've got 3 or 4 different tiers of funding, USDA federal funds being the top level, and then you got KIA Fund A and F, kind of the mid-level, and then we're creating a new fund for those who don't qualify for the rest, because we know all throughout the Commonwealth we have serious issues with districts who struggle to operate normally. So felt like we needed to provide a capital structure to where they could get the capital that they need. But now within this, we require them to implement best practices so that we don't continually have to fund the same mistakes over and over. So that's within the bill. The second part of the bill is we establish an emergency fund for districts who have some kind of catastrophic event, whether that be, the hard freezes we saw back in January. The city of Albany was out of water for about 2 weeks, and so we wanted to make sure that those districts had access to immediate capital to get services restored. And then the third part of the bill helps with consolidation. So we have mostly sewer systems, but also water systems all throughout the state that have fines imposed against them. If you've got a sewer system that overflows every time you have a rain event, they've got fines against them. So we're incentivizing better run systems to come in by providing a period of time so that a better run system can get them up to date to where they don't have to fear imposing new fines. And then once they implement better practices, once they get those issues corrected, that goes away. So it's an incentive structure for consolidation.
Been a motion by Senator Thayer, a second by Senator Carpenter. Before we have a couple of members that want to talk or ask questions, and we also have a couple people here that want to speak out on this bill. So Representative Bray, if you would just stay there. Rebecca Goodman and Sandy Williams, if y'all would go ahead and make your way up here, and we'll go ahead, and Senator West, I believe, had a question. Y'all can, you stay there, Representative Bray. There's room for everybody, and we'll just do this all together. I believe Senator West had a question for you while they're getting situated.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the bill. Really appreciate it. Just a couple quick questions. I'm assuming this is targeted primarily at smaller districts throughout the state. And so does this bill apply to only public systems?
So absolutely. First and second sections apply only to public systems, to where public money are going towards public systems. The third section applies to any system who would acquire one of these systems with outstanding violations. The idea behind that is if a district has gotten so bad that the EPA or Division of Water is having to come in and fine them repetitively, we don't care who buys it, because at the end of the day, people just want their toilets to flush and they want clean water at the tap.
So the third party theoretically could be a private
Yes, sir.
system to come in and purchase. It's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Boswell, I believe, had a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Two questions real quick, if I may. When it says make appropriation there, do we have an idea of what the general fund is going to be at on this?
So within House Bill 1, from the House's version, there were $75 million appropriated
Yes.
this year and $75 million appropriated next year.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. I was thinking more about in the employment part of this. So it's going to be handled by KIA, I think. Does this going to result in the need for additional employees?
So within the bill, the way KIA is funded, and Ms. Williams could obviously answer this question better than I can, but we've talked about this quite a bit, and had even added, this section in at their request. The way KIA is funded is they get a percentage of whatever flows through them for administration. So we've put that in there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If y'all wanted to introduce yourselves to the record and begin, anything you need to bring up on this, you're welcome to. Push your blue button, get your green light on there. And
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Pull that a little closer to you. There we go. We want to hear what you have to say.
I'm Rebecca Goodman, Secretary of the Energy and Environment Cabinet. And I want to compliment Representative Gray for working so closely with KIA. My concerns were voiced in those meetings as well, and I think we've established a pretty good relationship here, and I want to say that I'm very pleased about two parts of this bill. One is the funding for troubled systems. I think that's something that we can all get behind. These are systems that we see every day through the Division of Water in my cabinet. And systems that basically have no other place to turn sometimes. I also want to compliment him on the regionalization piece. Regionalization is something that I think we've sorely needed in this state. And regionalization can take many forms. It can look like an acquisition or a merger. It can look like a shared services agreement. It can look like a connection with a different water system to bolster your supply. So we're not convinced that there's one perfect model. We think that these small utilities who are basically too small to succeed or have a very small customer base and can't raise revenues high enough to fix their systems, we think that they will benefit from that portion of the bill. So I compliment Representative Bray on that.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Sandy Williams, Executive Director with the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority, and I too would like to compliment Representative Bray. He was kind enough to work very closely with us. And thank you, Chairman Howe and members of the committee, for the opportunity to speak on this House bill today. By establishing the Kentucky Waters Program and the Companion Emergency Waters Fund, the bill does support several goals, just like the Secretary said, that the Energy and Environment Cabinet and the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority are very much in favor of. The program supports regionalization, reduction of water loss, correction of environmental noncompliance, service to unserved or underserved customers, better management practices, and asset management, just to name a few. In establishing a way forward for those systems that would not qualify for funding under traditional funding methods is a program that I believe we can all get behind. To that end, we are in support of the funding packages that may include loans and, when necessary, a grant or principal forgiveness component. Involvement of the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority Board, which includes a very knowledgeable collection of water and wastewater professionals. The use of an established list of criteria to determine system and project eligibility, giving priority to projects that are regional, and establishing a process by which the utility is accountable to identify how the funding would be used to address identified deficiencies. These are all very positive steps toward assisting water and wastewater systems that are experiencing hardships. With one change to the bill, we believe it could have an even greater positive impact by more quickly addressing the issues faced by the identified systems, providing funding more timely, aligning this new funding with other established funding cycles, and completing projects even sooner. This could be accomplished by using the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority's established funding approval process instead of waiting to have all of the projects approved at once at the end of each session of the General Assembly. The current approval process includes 2 levels of approval: an executive branch approval through the KIA board and a legislative branch approval through the Capital Projects and Bond Oversight Committee. Using this established process would speed up most projects by about a year. Not having this new funding in place timely could also jeopardize other sources of grant funding that may be lined up for the project, like ARC, CDBG, or U.S. Rural Development. I believe we all want Kentuckians to have access to safe, affordable drinking water and sanitary wastewater treatment. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on House Bill 563, and thank you for your interest in and willingness to help Kentucky's water and wastewater systems.
Thank you. I appreciate everybody's hard work on this. I had one question, and I'll just throw it out there, and whoever wants it can have it. You talked about regionalism and everything. We see a lot of situations where they're small or districts that maybe were once larger than they are now. When we build these up under this program, when we do whatever we need, is there going to be any interconnectivity with other districts? I'm struggling over that word too. Good. Are they going to where that these smaller districts can offer some redundancy for the larger districts when they're down or have additional capacity demands?
So I do think that would be a component of it. You know, right now throughout Kentucky, I can think of a couple different systems, particularly more towards your area of the state, to where this is a real issue. There's a system that comes to mind right off the top of my head to where they've had significant water outages tied to water loss, and they're looking at a couple different projects to tie into other systems to help provide some of that redundancy you're talking about. So I absolutely do think that would qualify.
We tend to be a lot more cooperative on our end of the state, just for the record. Anyone else got any questions? We have a motion and a second on the bill. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong.
May I explain my yes vote, Mr. Chair?
Yes, you may.
I'm voting yes. I think there's a lot of really great stuff in this bill. I do have some concerns about what I heard about making sure we're not jeopardizing other grant funding, so hopefully we can resolve those issues. But really appreciate all the work and a lot of really good stuff in here. I vote yes.
Senator Boswell. Aye. Senator Carpenter. Aye. Senator Deneen. Senator Givens. Senator Thayer. Aye. Senator Webb.
Explain my I vote.
Sure.
I want to thank Representative Bray, Josh, for bringing this to, and the parties at the table. Back in 2019, in light of the Martin County situation, I sponsored a task force at that time, and it was renewed in 2020, and Senator Wheeler and I and Senator Turner were instrumental. We heard a lot of stakeholder input. We came up with some recommendations, and along with KIA, and they've already kind of been implemented in a lot of ways. And we appreciate that. I think this is a culmination of that input, and I wish we could have done it a couple of years ago, but thank you, and vote aye.
Senator West, Senator Westerfield, Senator Wilson, and Chairman Howe.
Aye.
Passes.
The bill passes. Is there a motion for consent?
Yes.
Motion by Senator Boswell, second by Senator Thayer. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. This will be put on consent. Representative Bray, ladies, thank you so much for. You're good. Next on the agenda, we have Representative Pfister with House Bill 27. While y'all are making your way to the table, there is a committee sub on there that we need to adopt. Is there a motion for the adopt a committee sub?
So moved.
Motion by Senator Boswell. Is there a second? Second by Senator West. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. It's adopted. Representative Pfister, please introduce yourself for the record, all your guests, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dan Pfister, State Representative representing the House 56 District.
I am Alan Bryant. I serve as the president of the Kentucky Association of Conservation Districts.
Mr. Chairman and committee, House Bill 27 is amended by House Floor Amendment 1 and Senate Committee Substitute. Is very simple. It includes soil and water conservation services and the definition of special purpose governmental entities. It increases their annual audit threshold from 500,000 to $1 million. It defines Kentucky-sourced alternative transportation fuels to mean any alternative transportation fuel that utilizes Kentucky-grown agricultural products in its production and requires state agencies to purchase such fuels when available if the vendor can meet the applicable quality standards and pricing requirements of that state agency. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there any questions on this bill or the committee sub?
Motion on the bill.
Been a motion by Senator Boswell, second by Senator Carpenter. If there's no further discussion, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Boswell. Senator Carpenter. Senator Deneen. Senator Givens. Senator Thayer. Senator Webb. Senator West. Senator Westerfield. Senator Wilson, and Chairman Howe.
Aye.
Passes.
Motion passes. Is there a motion to, or is there a motion for consent? Before we go, thank you. There's a title amendment on this. Is there a motion to adopt the title amendment? Motion by Senator Deneen. Second by Senator Webb. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Now, is there a motion for consent? Motion by Senator Deneen. Second by Senator Webb. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Representative Pfister, Alan, appreciate you coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Last but certainly not least, House Bill 621, Chair Heath, please make your way with your guest. I figured your guest would want us to say that we saved the best for last, so I'll go ahead and do that. You know the drill. Introduce yourself for the record and begin at your convenience.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Richard Heath from 2nd House District, and I'll allow my guest to introduce himself.
David Beck, President CEO, Kentucky Venues.
Thank you. We appreciate the committee hearing this bill. House Bill 621 amends KRS 247.140 by adding some language to it. It connects the North American Livestock and the North American Championship Rodeo together, and then the National Farm Machinery Show attaches the Champion Tractor Pull to that and codifies basically what we're already doing.
Been a motion by Senator Carpenter, second by Senator Webb. Does anyone have any questions? Absent any discussion, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Boswell. Senator Carpenter. Senator Deneen. Senator Givens. Senator Thayer. Senator Webb. Senator West. Senator Westerfield. Senator Wilson, and Chairman Howe.
Aye.
It passes.
This motion passes. There's been a motion by Senator Carpenter, second by Senator Deneen. All in favor of putting this on consent, please signify by saying aye. We'll go on consent. Chair Heath, good to have you.
Thank you.
Mr.
Appreciate
Beck,
it.
always good to have you.
If you guys would like an update on what's going on at Kentucky Venues, David Beck would be glad to do that. If you are ready to go do something else, we can do that too.
I think that we're kind of fidgety up here, so it's always good to hear. Always good to hear from Mr. Beck, but I think we got people needing to head out and get to other things.
Understood. Thank you.
Appreciate it. If there is nothing further before the committee, we stand adjourned.